Hey guys, the iPhone 8's biggest competitor, the Samsung Galaxy S8, is almost here. We've got 1 month to go exactly before the official release. However, you don't have to wait that long. In this video, I'll tell you everything you need to know about this phone. With a 90 to 95% accuracy, I can tell you that this is everything the phone is going to be. So without waiting a month, let's go ahead and get into those details. It's a bit funny because there's literally almost nothing left to hide about this phone. It's almost on an Apple level. These leaks have been slipping out. We know the actual specifications of the phone, almost every single detail about this phone, like all the processor information, batteries, sizes, displays. We're going to talk about all of that today in this video. Now, the very first thing that Samsung wants to convince you of is that they are very determined to fix their mistake. The Note 7 was not that great. It wasn't a pretty splotch on the history of Samsung, so they released a new video on YouTube called Quality Assurance, where they throw the Samsung Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge into a variety of tests. There's obviously a guy with a clipboard checking things, but what they want to convince you of essentially is that they're taking the security of this phone very seriously. The build quality of it. They're going to be going through much more testing before they release this phone. In fact, they're delaying the release by a full month just to ensure that the battery does not explode. And guys, please, to the people that are going to be commenting right now in the description, just leave the Note 7 jokes out of it. It's just been overdone and done again. That's all I see in the comments nowadays, but of course there'll be more. But anyways, Samsung wants to make sure the S8 is not going to be exploding. So the first thing I want to mention is the craziest. The specs, the official specs of this phone have leaked. This is kind of unprecedented. We don't usually get this, especially with a Samsung phone. So a full month in advance, I'll tell you exactly what the S8 is going to be like. Now, we're looking at a 6.2-inch display, like earlier predicted, and a 5.8 on the Samsung Galaxy S8. So these are going to be with rounded corners. That's something that caught my eye that I'm very happy to see. You guys know my opinion on that. It just looks sexy. It doesn't really add functionality. It's just the looks. It looks sleek. It sells phones. It probably will sell phones, in my opinion, just because of how cool it looks. So rounded corners, the actual square area of the display is not going to fill up, obviously, the whole area. It's going to be cropped, and that's what that 6.1 inches is for, and a 5.6. That's basically usable screen space with your content. So we're looking at a dual pixel, 12 megapixel rear camera, 8 megapixel in the front. No word on that autofocus. It was rumored that would get an autofocus motor on the front-facing camera. No room there, but it has been bumped up, so it's 1 megapixel higher now than the iPhone 7 and 7 Pluses, which is, of course, they have to do that. Come on. There will be an iris scanner, which is not much of a surprise for anyone. I mean, the Note 7 had it, so of course the Samsung Galaxy S8 is going to get it. It's rumored, of course, to be improved. It's going to be faster and more accurate. Also, IP68 water resistance. I was a little disappointed to see that it didn't go up to actually fully waterproof, but still, I'll take this. This is good. Just like the S7, this will have the very same rating. It'll do good. It did fantastic in all of my tests, but the iPhone in some tests actually outperformed it in the waterproofing, but we'll have to test that again this year. And a very interesting decision on Samsung's part as far as the memory goes. So only 4 gigabytes of memory for both phones. Now, the iPhone 7 Plus has 3, and it works fantastically, I'd say. I don't really experience any sort of lag or anything like that, so 4 for both of these phones should be fine. Also, 64 gigabytes of storage standard. There was no other option listed here. Of course, you'll be able to expand it with a 256 gigabyte card, giving you over 300 gigabytes of storage. But it's interesting that there will only be one size. That's according to this. There might be, but not in America. And in a separate rumor, the Samsung Galaxy S8 in Chinese markets will receive 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabyte option for storage. So both sizes of the S8 are essentially the same phone. So they're going to be sharing the same internals aside from the screen. Even the screen is going to have the same resolution. So according to this leaked spec sheet, this is going to have a Quad HD Plus resolution. That means 3200 pixels by 1800. That is insane. That means on the standard S8, you're going to get a pixel density of 694 pixels per inch. On the S8 Plus, that's 649, but still very sharp. A huge step up from the S7 and S7 Edge. Well, not much, but it is better. For comparison, the sharpest display you can get on a phone is the 4K resolution from the Sony Xperia Z5, which has an 801 pixel density, which is much higher than this, but still, that's going to be crazy. On the iPhone, we have 326 pixels per inch. That's over double. Now, the official spec sheet says 3200 by 1800 resolution. Now, that equals out to 16 times 9 aspect ratio. In earlier videos, I did say that would be an 18:9 matching the LG G6, but that won't be the case. Now, an interesting side effect of the screen growing is that the phone will actually be getting taller, not wider, but taller. So taking a look at these leaked schematics, they suggest that the Samsung Galaxy S8 will be taller versus the S7, and same for the larger model as well. In fact, that one will be about 9 millimeters taller. So that doesn't necessarily mean an uncomfortable phone. It'll be just about the same width, but it will be getting taller. So using it with one hand might be getting more difficult. It's just an interesting size comparison there. And a recent dummy had a screenshot of the Galaxy S8 on it that showed the home button. So in further detail, recent leaks suggest that this home button will be 3D touch, but we already did know about it. So the functions that it will have is basically with a hard press, it will unlock the phone on the home button, and with a double tap, it'll open up the camera. This is kind of to welcome old Galaxy users to shorten the learning curve between older Galaxies and the new S8, but it's interesting to note that there will be 3D touch on these home buttons. Now, there was recently a dump for the Galaxy Tab S3, the ROM, and in this dump they found a lot of details about the Galaxy S8, namely in images, kind of like a help image. So it shows that the Galaxy S8 will have a fingerprint sensor on the back of the phone. So if you had any doubt about that, this is actual documentation from Samsung, their own leaked images. And a couple more images found in this dump show that these buttons are the on-screen buttons. So you do have a back arrow and the multitasking button right next to the home button, which is kind of an interesting little square design. So those are the on-screen buttons, and there's also another image showing the dock feature. The Galaxy S8 is rumored to have a feature where you can plug it into your desktop and it'll act as a sort of a watered down desktop, and this is rumored to be called the DeX. So very interesting. It won't be a fully fledged computer, but it'll get some computer-like functionality. And a real hands-on leak with this prototype shows the Samsung Galaxy S8 running with a jet black color. It's a very sleek looking phone, and it's very convincing. This was reposted by Sam Mobile, and taking a closer look at it, you can see that the screen is cropped, so it's not taking advantage of the full display as the edges are rounded, but you can sort of still see your content using that solution. And Spigen actually posted some cases too, which suggest that this design is the real one. I mean, it's been reposted everywhere, and everyone seems to confirm the very same details, the rounded corners, the home button on the back. Just another leak that was reposted by Benjamin Geskin. And speaking of, if you're not following Benjamin Geskin on Twitter, you should be. He allowed me to use his images in this video, and they usually get reposted by big news sources who confuse them with being the real press images. So I'm going to leave his link to Twitter down below. Go ahead and follow him. And a recent leak suggests the colors of the Samsung Galaxy S8 we may see at launch. So these are screen protectors that actually match the body color of the phone they're on, and what they're suggesting is that we're going to be seeing a black, white, blue, gold, and silver color of the S8 at launch. And the Exynos 9, the 8895 series, is official. This is Samsung's in-house processor that they make for the Galaxies that they're going to be using in other countries. You know, it's been long known that the Exynos processors are slightly superior, but for licensing and to be able to use the technologies, the radios, in the USA, they have to use Qualcomm's Snapdragon 835. Now, how do these two processors compare? So the Exynos 8895 is actually 27% faster than the previous 8890. The Snapdragon 835 is 20% faster over the 821. 821 was just a very tiny revision of the 820. So they're both pretty much in the same ballpark. The Snapdragon 835 has a slightly lower clock speed at 2.45 gigahertz, but a higher clock speed of the 4 lower end cores at 1.9 versus 1.7 gigahertz. So, you know, it'll take a real world test to see how these compare, but mostly in the past, the Exynos processors have outperformed the Snapdragons. Now, Samsung is going to announce the announcement of the Samsung Galaxy S8 on February 29th at MWC. So not even showing the phone, just telling us when they're going to announce it. It's also rumored they're going to have a 1-minute teaser at this event, just showcasing some of the subtle design hints of the S8, so we'll have to see that in just a few days. But recent reports have confirmed that the Samsung Galaxy S8 will be announced on March 29th with a final release on April 21st. A little bit later than usual, but not too bad, as long as it doesn't catch fire. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 is not dead. It's actually going to be refurbished and resold in developing countries with a smaller battery at 3,000 to 3,200 milliamps. So Samsung has 2.5 million working Note 7s in their factory. They had like 3 point something after the whole event. They tested about 200,000. There were a lot of broken ones. And what's left is 2.5 million that they can sell refurbished to developing countries. And that's probably exactly what they're going to do, as this rumor suggests. And guys, there it is, the Samsung Galaxy S8. I don't really know what else I can share with you. I pretty much told you everything, but if any new leaks or details emerge, I will eventually post a video. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day and stay tuned for February 29th, where we learned a little bit more about the S8. Peace.